Namaskar, friends. Welcome to my channel, Bindas Batein. It's a special one because it's going to be in English. Today's discussion continues on the hindsight of my previous episode because of, again, the famous corona. Today in the morning, during our everyday huddle with my team, so they suggested that this particular one, I should be doing it in English, just for the wider audience, so that a lot of people can listen to what I have to say. Now, in saying that, I will also promise you that from next week onwards, my videos are not going to be corona related because it's a bit too much. But in this particular one, I really could not help but do it. It's just everyday people, and it's just the way things are being handled, that I thought that this is maybe something that I do need to do. Not that I have a big voice or people listen to me, but I do have a channel and I do have a way of communicating my thoughts to people, whoever is listening out there. So why waste that opportunity? So the first thing, the adults of this society, the so-called responsible people, what do we have to do during this time to make sure that we do our part correctly? There are people who are relying on us, our kids, because they blindly look up to us, they do what we say, so they are relying on us. And of course, the generation before us, our elderlies, they are relying us on it as well. These are the two sections of the society which are sort of vulnerable. Health-wise, the elders are, and decision-wise, the youngest generation. So the kids are. They do rely on us. So it becomes our responsibility to do the right thing during this time. What is the right thing to do? It's very simple. Stay home. That is the right thing. I would not fail to mention how India has reacted to these situations. And hats off to the leaders, to the Prime Minister of India, who has at such an early stage taken a decision which a lot of developed countries have not been able to, including us here, Australia, but India has. Because if this virus gets out of hand in that country, I cannot even begin to imagine how many people will die. And of course, the target will be the poor. It's a very sad situation. But hats off to the leaders who have taken this early on decision and have taken that drastic step. I'm not a very wise or learned person here. I just speak my mind. So they say that essential services are things that we cannot close. So even during the lockdown, there are certain things that we cannot close. The prime being the hospitals. The doctors have to go for work. They have to go and look after their patients. We still need to think or to look at a bigger picture. So these people also have their families and their responsibility to keep them safe. And how will they do that? So the only way that they can do is by not coming back home every night. So keeping themselves safe, keeping their families safe. So they stay in the vicinity of their own setup, which is provided by their employers or the government, and serve the society. And also, in the process, save their families from this pandemic. That would be the best way to do it. But then who am I? This is just a suggestion or just my thought. A lot of people think that just leaving the house during this time and going for work is bravery. I don't think so. Just going to the office because you don't have an option to work from home, or the government has not been conscious enough to give that decision for a lockdown, doesn't make yourself very responsible. This can be raised with different employers. That okay, I don't feel safe, I have an elderly person at home, or I have a vulnerable person in the house, and I don't feel safe moving in this society or going outside my house. I need to keep them safe. When you're going out, you're putting yourself in danger. Plus, when you come back home, you're putting everybody else in danger as well. So though we are isolated, or though we are self-isolating ourselves and staying home to be safe, but this particular person who's going out of the family every day or out of the house every day is putting us out in the open as well and not keeping us safe. So we are not safe. So it's something that the family has to decide as a whole, how to be conscious about these times and how to keep us all safe as a community. Very important factor. I have seen people during these times say that you cannot actually handshake, but you can elbow bang or whatever that is called. How is that safe? I don't understand. Because the numerous videos that have been shared on WhatsApp and all the other media platforms, they show that if a person is affected by the coronavirus, whatever items they touch will be affected. People who think that, okay, we have isolated ourselves, but we are only going out to get bread, or we are only going out to get some milk for the family. Is that feasible or is that logical? It's not. So you have to learn to accommodate and to live with what you have. So say, for example, people who have hoarded, they are of course in a very comfortable place, but people who have not and were relying on the services, or were relying on the fact that they will be able to go out and get these necessary things for the day, like bread, butter, whatever, they need to learn to stop relying on these things. So if the milk finishes, go to powder milk, but do not move out of the house to get those things, because again, it doesn't make sense if you're doing that. Because the whole point of staying home and staying safe is defeated if you're moving out of the house even once. Because who knows what you're coming back with. You can't keep distance of 1.5 meters between people. But what would you do? How would you keep distance from everything around you? How would you? You cannot. And you don't know what part of the car, or which part of the paper, or which part of the pen that you're holding, or the trolley that you're holding, or the shelf that you're picking the stuff from is infected. Do we know that? No, we don't. So that essential item that you have gone out to get could be carrying the virus, because that has been touched by somebody who has corona, who has the virus. So again, be a little bit more responsible, be a little bit more aware. I was quite shocked while I was talking to one of my colleagues in the morning, and she said that she went out for a walk at around 10 p.m. yesterday night, and she was quite shocked to see the parks were full of people, kids and people running around, playing, having fun. How hard is it to understand what exactly or what they are exposing themselves to? We will regret for years to come, because recouping from this pandemic, not sure how long that will take. And why do we have to learn the hard way when we are seeing countries who are struggling and suffering from this already? Yes, in normal life we do say that let the kids or let everybody make their own mistakes, they will learn from them, but this is not one of them. This is the one that we have to act and be aware and take things from other countries' experiences and learn from their mistakes. And do not wait for stage 3 or stage 4 or stage 5 or whatever stage is out there. Because there is so much out there in the media that few good things, you find few things that you listen to and you feel good about it, and then you share those points. So in those instances, somebody said that this is the environment's own way of resetting or pressing the reset button. Because, of course, nobody is listening about global warming and all bad stuff. So this is a way that an environment is saying, okay, excuse me, we need to reset because we have done enough. But, very important point, because we talk in this technological terms or the computer language, resetting the button and whatnot. So in the same language, if we do go and reset something in our computers, in our laptops, we all know that we have to save all the important things before we reset, isn't it? Because once we reset, if we don't save, we lose all that. So the environment is going across and pressing the reset button. What do we have to do? We need to save the important things. And important things in this scenario is not the documents or the information, or it's just simple lives, our families, our societies, our communities. So we can go back to our normal life when all this comes back to normal. If I was somebody important in the world, I would have placed a lockdown throughout the world at one go. So at the same time, lockdown throughout. So all activities stopped and then restarted after whatever time it takes to contain this virus. So I have heard that people say, okay, the Hindu style of living is the best, where we say, of course, namaskar. Like we join our hands and say namaskar because we don't touch each other. So if you look into it, even the Muslim style is the same. They say adab. In that also they don't touch each other. If we avoid the handshake, the English style saying hi is also not touching each other. So in this particular scenario, let's stop blaming each other and pointing fingers at each other. And let's work hand in hand and come out of this. Because in India, it's sad to see posts on Facebook when we see that, okay, the Hindus are aiming at Muslims, the Muslims are aiming at Hindus, that Hindus are doing these things, or the political parties are taking advantage of this situation. It's very sad. Because at the end of it, no matter what, this pandemic has done a lot of wrong, but this is one thing where we all have to stand together, because we all are in this together, and we have to come out from this together. There is no other way. There is no other way. You greet this way, you greet this way, or you greet this way. It doesn't matter. They say the same thing, they convey the same thing. An important point that I also wanted to discuss, I've been wanting to do this actually, I wanted to do a separate episode for this, which I will, maybe the next one, but just to touch a little bit on this part as well. So when everybody is home, husband, wife, kids, in-laws, everybody's home, do you think we will all be in a loving relationship? No, not always. So there will be clashes. There will be so many relationship breakdowns. Please, though I will be covering this in a different episode, but then please be mindful of your health, of your personal health and well-being. Do the things that make you happy. Do the things that make you content. Do the things that keep you satisfied during this time, because we have to survive this as a whole. I'm more concerned about people who are suffering from domestic violence. They will be staying 24/7 with that abuser during this time. So please call out for help. If there are situations as such where the person cannot leave the house and you are there to be abused left, right, center 24/7. So please reach out to communities, reach out to organizations if you are going through a hard time, and raise your hand if you need help. Asking for help is not wrong. Asking or saying that you cannot cope is not wrong. If not organizations, call out for your friends. Do a FaceTime. Cheers through Skype. But do something. Do things that keep you safe individually and as a family, then as a community and as a world and whatnot. But then individually to start with. So everything starts from us. So we need to keep ourselves safe and healthy. Very important during these times is to have a routine. Because when you're working from home, things like routine goes out of the window. Yes, the companies are trying hard and they are putting things in place where people have to go for morning meetings and afternoon catch-ups and this and that. But a lot of the times, staff gets a bit off the routine. They will stop doing the regular things that they normally do, so like taking a shower, putting finer clothes, or they just stay in their pajamas. Stay in your pajamas, but a fresh one, maybe. Take a shower every day. Groom yourself. Do not let it go just because you're working from home. Try to do video calls rather than audio, because when you're doing video calls, you're more conscious of your appearance, and that will sort of push you. It will be like you're in an office, and that will push you to do the right things. And doing the same for your kids and for the other members of the family, because again, they need routine too, otherwise it will be very, very monotonous, and this time will be very hard for all of us. So again, these things are very important. For our own. People can switch to or can Google the meditation apps and things if that works. Maybe do exercises as a family, which I'm going to try with my kids. Though not yet started, but we are planning that we will start doing exercises together every afternoon. Be kind, so do not be selfish. Do not be mean. And do what you can for the society from where you are. I'll give you an example. So in our office, we belong to an essential service because we work for the bank. It is an essential service. And in that essential scenario, we work for the people who are struggling during this time. And we are very fortunate that a company has been able to provide us the facility to work from home. We do know that during this time, the influx of people struggling would be immense, because out there in the society, people are losing jobs. The economy is going to go a bit other way. But to come out of this period, services like ours need to work a bit extra. And one of my friends the other day said, don't do overtime because I never do overtime. This is the one time that I will, because I am fortunate that I can, within the safety of my house, I can still give back to the society. Then why not? Why not? I will do as much as I can and try to help people who are struggling. At least give them that assurance that things will be okay, that we will come out of this, and that things will be fine, and that life will normalize, and they will all have their jobs back, or they will all have work in the near future, and that we are there to look after them, or we are there to look out for them for this period. It's very important. And it is scary when people start asking you such questions. People whom you feel were doing really well start asking questions like, what will happen if I'm not able to pay my loan? What will happen if I'm not able to cope up with this situation? It's shocking. And it is very, very, very sad. So I will do my bit. And I assume that everybody out there will do their bit and keep the society running and safe. All right then. See you all next week. Stay safe, stay inside, stay together, and stay strong. See you all guys next week. Bye bye. Keep watching Bindas Baatein.